So Susan Bratton, welcome to the Orgasmic Lifestyle Podcast. It's a huge pleasure to have you on here, especially as you are a self-proclaimed orgasmonaut. What is
I am. You know what? That is so funny too, because, well, first of all, I live an orgasmic lifestyle, so I'm
Mm.
damn glad to be here. Number two, this Orgasmonaut thing, I have to tell you what I wanted to talk to you about today was my 17-year orgasmic meditation practice. What is orgasmic meditation? Where did it come from? What's different about it? What are the benefits of it? Because it is such an amazingly fulfilling experience for lovers. And it just helps women have such a more satisfying sex life. But I remember when I was very first starting my practice and I was starting to gain some traction and I was starting to come better, longer, and harder than I ever had, Venus. And I called my mentor, Dr. Patty Taylor, who is one of the people from whom my husband and I learned this practice. And I said, Patty, I'm scared. I'm coming so hard. Sometimes it takes me like a day to recover. And
Wow.
I'm going out into this place with Tim where I'm worried if I let myself go further, I may not come back. Is it safe? I mean, I was pushing my edge of what orgasmic intensity I could have. And she said, just let go. Not only just let go, you'll be back. Yeah, sometimes it takes a bit to recover from it, but it makes you better in the long run. And when you come back, you can give other people the map to the territory. If you don't go there, how can you teach people how to get there? And I just let go, and my orgasms just expanded exponentially. But I felt like an astronaut in outer space, uncharted territory. And way back then, I thought to myself, I feel like an orgasmonaut. And just last week, I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I did a photo shoot. I like to do a lot of photo shoots. I like to, at 61, look as sexy
Wow,
and
you look amazing. Oh my
beautiful
God.
as I possibly can. Thank you. And I dressed up in a silly astronaut costume. And I dressed up as the Orgasmonaut. I embodied the Orgasmonaut for the first time in print.
That's
I'll have to send
amazing.
you some images. They'll be on my Instagram. You said you follow me. Thank you. But that was just so cute, the whole Orgasmonaut thing, that you caught on to that too, that you liked that. Yes, I think we are kindred spirits in the rocket, riding the rocket ship to orgasmic infinity and beyond, because there's so many ways we can orgasm. I've counted now over 20 kinds, and the 20th is wild card. And someday I'd be happy to come back on and go through all 20. But honestly, it's exhausting just to talk about all 20 kinds of orgasms. I have it on my website, and I'll give you the links so at the end of the show. But the expanded orgasm practice, or orgasmic meditation, deliberate massive orgasm, extended massive orgasm, this clitoral stroking practice is really what I was hoping you and I could kind of dig deep into, because you have a great mastery of orgasmic potential in listening to your show and sharing your expansion with your guests so beautifully. I thought I could share a bit of my expansion with you so that you could help more women and their partners achieve this incredible conjoined trance state of orgasmic meditation.
Amazing. Another thing you have another big list of, I saw you have written 34 books about sexuality. So which
Yeah,
one
it's
was
now
the most?
44. I just counted them up.
Oh wow, 44. So that's a lot, a lot. I mean, so which one was the
Right.
most successful one? And which one did you enjoy writing the most?
I probably enjoyed writing my Dirty Talk book the most, dirtytalkbook.com. It's free. I
Mm.
probably have had more copies of a book I wrote called My Relationship Magic at myrelationshipmagic.com downloaded. But my second most downloaded book is actually something called Pumping Guide. The Pumping Guide teaches people how to pull blood into their genitals for more engorgement. It helps with reversing the atrophy of genital aging, so that because when you get older, you lose your orgasmic intensity. And I have a lot of ideas for women and men, people of all bodies, of both bodies and all gender persuasions, to keep their orgasmic intensity going as they age, because that is actually a thing that people start to begin to almost never notice it being gone until they're like, I'm really struggling to come now. And that pumping guide I've had the most downloads of. But I think the book that I've written that's done the most good for the most people, again, another one I gave away for free, is called The Sexual Soulmate Pact, PACT. And the reason that it is that it's actually not a sexual technique, it's a communication skill. It's the communication skill. It's about how to ask your partner for how to know what you want and ask your partner for it, and have them love your requests and feel like they're winning with your communication and feedback. Because I can teach you all the techniques in the world. What I do is I create passionate lovemaking techniques, how to transform having sex into making love. I'm about heart-connected, passionate lovemaking, not the friction, but the connection. And without clear communication in the bedroom, and a lot of people say, well, I don't even know what I want. How could I ask for it? And I'm like, oh, but you do. Let me tell you how to figure it out. I think the Sexual Soulmate Pact, again, at sexualsoulmatepact.com, free, of course, is really probably the most important thing that I've written.
So what do you do actually then? So do you actually work directly with couples?
No, I'm not a therapist. I'm kind of the opposite of that. Therapists are really there to fix problems. They're the ones that kind of go backward in time and unwind the shame and, all of those things. I run a publishing company. I've published the work of my own and of my mentors, which is why the expanded orgasm practice with Dr. Patty Taylor, Expand Her Orgasm Tonight, is really one of those techniques that I think is a fundamental skill if you want to have an incredible sex life, if you want your sex life to keep getting better over time, if you want to have better orgasms, more intense orgasms, stay in the orgasmic state longer. It's this funny little clit stroke technique. It's a finger on the clit stroke technique that is so light and delicate. You would have to think to yourself, oh, wow, that's the opposite of what I've been doing to give myself orgasms. How counterintuitive is that? I had the freakiest dream last night. And since you always do these erotic, stories, I had this crazy dream where I was like in someplace, I don't know what it was. And this young woman was just had her hand up my skirt and my panties were kind of loose. And I was wet, and she was just slowly and lightly giving me that stroke that my clit really wanted. And I was just coming in I felt like what I was doing was like if you took honey and you just stirred orgasm into it and you just coated your whole aura with that feeling, that melting, completely easy, sweet, just you're just riding that orgasm. There's no effort. You're not trying. You're not pushing out. You're not clenching down. You're just getting the lightest little stroke on your clit. And I was coming in my dream so nicely from that little stroke. And that young woman, I barely remember what she looked like. I just remembered, oh, there's a young woman stroking my clit and I am coming so nicely.
I think it's something that everyone craves. I mean, because sometimes I actually wrote an article years ago in for GQ in Spain saying it was about what's called 10 things you don't know about women. It said you're supposed to stroke with the delicacy you would with your smartphone, not like the escape key, because I find sometimes when you're in a situation maybe with someone you don't know that well, or maybe you don't speak up, it can be way too rough, and then you say softer, and there's only so many times you can say it, because then people will just not get it. So it's I think definitely softness is something that we we crave more. It's more erotic, actually, just to be soft and slow.
Yeah, when that finger is just sliding. I know. And maybe the little girl was just symbolic of, not little girl, but she was of age, but the young woman was symbolic of just that not attachment to any need of her own, and the soft, sweet sensitivity of her touch. And then here I get up today and I get to talk to you about expanded orgasm, which is exactly what that's all about.
Amazing, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So say you do some things with vaginal rejuvenation. What is that, and how can we? Why do we need it, and what is it exactly?
Well, you know how you wrinkle up and you shrivel up as you get old? At 61, I'm fighting that with everything that I have, right? I'm doing PRP on my face and trying to get my hair growths better, and taking my fatty omegas and eating lots of healthy fats and leafy green vegetables and getting my blood pumping, because you have to fight against the atrophy of aging, the desiccation, the drying up, the wrinkling, the tissue loss. When you're 50, you're this big. When you're 80, you're about 20% smaller. Well, so are your genitals. So as women age, we hear all this stuff about, I lost my libido in menopause. Well, I honestly think that for a lot of women, it has nothing to do with their hormones. I mean, some women definitely have vaginal atrophy from loss of estrogen, but you can reverse that with bioidentical hormone replacement, estrogen, estriol, estradiol. You can use organic nut oils as lubricants, which are safe to eat. I always say, if you wouldn't put it in your mouth, you shouldn't put it on your vulva. They're the other end of the same tube, and we're trying to get rid of toxins out of our body. We're trying to get rid of hormone disruptors out of our body. So you don't want to use lubes, which are, in America, we have these FDA class 2 lubricants, which means they must have preservatives in them because they're sold to consumers. And so they end up having all these chemicals in them. And it's like, would you drink that? No. Well, then why are you putting that in your vulva? Oh, I never thought about it. It's like, yeah, just use some nut oils. Okay, so use really high quality sex toys, clean them off afterward, and maybe you get a little less life out of the silicone. But honestly, sex tech is advancing so quickly that we're getting new vibrators much more frequently now. We don't have that same rabbit vibe. We had that gooey plastic full of phthalate, rabbit vibe we had 10 years or 20 years ago. You got one? You got some old relic?
This is like the one you should not buy, because I keep it because I have 700 toys, and I have one box full of the battery operated ones. Yeah. And some of them are disintegrating, like this one. It's just disgusting. It's actually come apart. Exactly. It's discoloring. It needs to be completely transparent. And to think I put this inside me with no, I use condoms now with anything going inside. Because I've had to go to ER a couple of times through my job, which is not fun. I've shared a couple of stories, but also I'm very against lubricants as well, because of all especially glycerin, and there's lots of other things. And I'm just so fortunate for now that I am naturally juicy, but I do have these questions about what's going to happen. And I think it's something that a lot of people ask, or wonder, and we don't really have that much information about, because I don't like the idea of having to. I actually wrote an article recently about lubricants and menopause, and it talked about how you need to just use it for maintenance, because to get over that dryness, just to kind of overcome the dry discomfort, not just for preparation for penetration, but also just for day to day. And I thought, I don't like that idea at all. I'd much rather do BHRT or something like that that's going to get me juicy again, without buying anything.
Let's parking lot something I want to ask your opinion about. I have this this thing I've been working on recently, which is this notion of orgasmic cross training, using the five different types of female sex toys that are available, where I'm kind of thinking, hey, have all 5 of these and rotate them through your usage, because then you're creating new neural pathways. So you're having different types of stimulation driving you into different types of orgasm, so that When you're with a partner, you're just naturally more orgasmic, and you can incorporate these toys, of course, but even if you don't want to, if these are just more solo pleasure, your choice. So I want to run those 5 by you, but let me finish off with the genital atrophy. So since you're a device aficionado, obviously we've talked about the BHRT and we've talked about the lubrication. The other thing is that's very, very important that is often overlooked is nitric oxide production. Our genital system has as much blood flow in it as our male body partners. You know, the men, their penis fills up like a big tube full of blood, locks off and holds that blood in, and that's what gives them firmness. And so they go from small and tiny, flaccid, to large and firm when they're healthy. We do the same exact thing. We have pound for pound, inch for inch, as much erectile tissue in our vulva as our male body partners do. It's just in 3 different erectile systems: the clitoral structure, the urethral structure, and the perineal structure. And they literally completely wrap around the vagina. And they are subject to our ability and our nitric oxide production's ability to drive blood into our pelvic bowl when we're aroused, expanding our vulva, plumping it up. And then that creates more surface area, which when stimulated sends a higher number of pleasure signals to our brain, helping us achieve orgasm and orgasmic satisfaction and intensity. And I am on this, I would say just like platform to let women know that all women are capable of having orgasms from intercourse without even touching the tip of our clits. We just need the time to get aroused. It takes us so much longer to get all those nooks and crannies filled in. We don't have that straight shot of the hemodynamics of the penis, but we have the same amount of erectile tissue. And so men are always so ready to go. If we have male body partners, they're rushing us. We're rushing because it's never really as good for us. We don't get the stimulation we need in the way we need it. So I teach intercourse techniques, basically fucking techniques. How do you use your penis in a vagina? How do you use your vagina with a penis to create pleasure? And how do you make sure you get enough time to let that genital system expand to its full capacity so you can actually feel the friggin' sensation? And how do you nurture your blood carrying capacity is with nitric oxide. So nitric oxide boosters, which is why, in addition to my business of publishing passionate lovemaking techniques, I'm a publisher. So I create online programs that anyone anywhere in the world can access. So you don't have to go to a workshop or work with a therapist. I just teach you how to have great sex. I don't want to fix all the shame and trauma. It's not my training. I'm not a therapist. If you need that, I refer you to an asect coach, an asect psychotherapist or sexologist, which there's so many incredible ones. What I do is I give you sex techniques, bedroom communication skills, and the third stool, which is this sexual regenerative practices. So you understand, take nitric oxide, look at my hormone panel, use good lubrication, masturbate often with a variety of tools so that you have lots of an expanded palette of orgasmic response. And then if you still have painful or atrophied genitalia, you can reverse it using regenerative tools and treatments. Simple things. Number 1 is something called a V-Fit Gold. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. Well, let me know if you want me to connect you. Where the heck is mine? I'd have to run into the other room to get it. I actually use mine all the time. It's I could do that if you want me to.
Okay. Yeah, we can. Okay.
So one of the first things that I recommend for women who still have painful vaginal issues is this wonderful tool. It's called a V-Fit Gold in America, and in Europe it's called Europe and Canada it's called V-Sculpt. And this is a woman-owned company, and this thing is absolutely revolutionary. Before they invented this,
what's the company called?
I had to say Joylux.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah.
So if you go to joylux.com/Susan, I'm such a champion of theirs. They make me a little special package where you get some bonus gifts with it, which are actually very good at carrying case, some wipes, all kinds of things. joylux.com/Susan. But what I love about this particular product is that I used to have to send women to get CO2 laser work done in their vagina or RF devices, because what we get is vaginal thinning and incontinence and painful sex. That's usually our kind of triumvirate, and then loss of orgasmic intensity. And when you use CO2 lasers and RF devices up inside the vagina, it basically burns the crap out of the vaginal mucosal tissue so that your body has to go heal it and repair it, which makes it thicker. Well, why do you want to hurt yourself to fix a problem? I mean, this was invented by men, I am sure. So what VFit has done with this is they've created
it for those who are listening and can't see it.
Yes.
So it's like a
first of all, I'll let you hear it.
Okay.
You hear the vibration?
Not really. It must be very silent.
It is very silent. So your kids and your husband don't need to know when you're administering this. It is essentially a penis-y curve, very smooth. It's a medical device that is for at-home use. It's at-home, do-it-yourself vaginal rejuvenation. And it essentially has red light therapy, which is called photobiomodulation. So it puts red light up inside the vagina with vibration and this kind of warmth that helps recollagenate the vaginal mucosa. So it thickens the tissue, it improves the kind of glycolic microbiome of the vagina. So you get a healthier biome, and it helps with kind of tone of the muscles, because when you have muscle tone loss, you have loss of orgasmic intensity. When you have thinning, you have painful sex. When you have loss of lubrication, you have painful sex. So it fixes all these problems. It also helps a lot of women who didn't care for their odor, but their doctors couldn't find any kind of bacterial vaginosis or any issue. And it helps women with recurrent infections. And what I love about this product is that you use it every day for a few minutes, and it's very easy. It feels great. I get up in the morning, pop this in when I need to. I'll use it for a while, and then I'll repair. I won't need it for a while. And then I'll notice as I've aged a little more, oh, okay, I want to use my VFit again for a while. I had a little painful sex. Let's get that going again. And I'll use it again. I just get up in the morning, put it in, scroll some Instagram, have my latte, and I'm done. And this is such a wonderful product. You can stack it. When you talk about sexual regenerative treatments that are available for women that help us reverse the atrophy of our genitals, help us get through the dryness and all of those kinds of things, I have at 61 the most incredible, juicy, velvety, beautiful, fresh, lush vulva. It's better than it was in my 20s. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And it's so responsive and so orgasmic and so just a delight to have as a part of my body. And when you have this, you can stack on another treatment called FemiWave. It's coming to Europe. It's here in America. And it is an acoustic wave that they send. You go into a treatment center, and it's a little acoustic wave that barely feels like anything. It doesn't hurt. All those CO2 lasers and RF things, they're like, oh, it doesn't hurt, it's outpatient. You can do it on your lunch time. Oh, right. But my vagina is going to weep for 10 days and I'm not going to be able to have. And they're like, you can have sex that evening. I'm like, well, maybe you can, girl, but I can't. I mean, I came in here with some problems and that hurt me so badly. It's like I got a 3rd-degree burn. So what I love about the FemiWave is it doesn't hurt. Just like the VFit, it doesn't hurt to help rebuild the tissue. And it really helps with incontinence as well, which I don't know. It seems like all of us women have to deal with that at some point in our life, urge or stress or both of incontinence. And FemiWave is a really wonderful technology that sends these acoustic waves into the tissue in the abdominal urethral area, in the labial area and clitoral area, and the perineal area. So it shores up the pelvic bowl. It plumps those labia up, because I have bad news for you. When you get old, your labia gets saggy like a couple of old scrotal balls. I mean, it is the most depressing thing. You're like, oh shit, my pussy looks like my husband's balls.
Joan Rivers had that joke about
Oh, she
bunny
did?
slippers. She used to always say that joke that she used to, that it drops and it's like, hey, I didn't know I was wearing bunny slippers or something. That's one of her recurring jokes. I was like, what does she mean by that? It doesn't sound good.
Well, they didn't shave their pubes off back in Joan Rivers' time, but that's why they look like bunny slippers. But that's so funny. Yeah, exactly. They really do. They really sag. And so what I love about FemiWave is it really gets a lot of the atrophy out of the clitoral, urethral, and perineal structures. And it also plumps up those outer labia, so you look like you have a nice, youthful peach. So there's that. And then there's O shots. Have you heard about those?
I think I heard of them, but I'm not sure. I just hate any type of intervention, to be honest. So anything like having some kind of shots, is that in the G spot?
Yeah, but it's from your own body's blood, growth factors from your own body's blood.
I don't know. I just don't like, I just rather kind of keep it as natural as possible. It just sounds, I don't like anything, I don't know. I guess a lot of people feel like that as well. Like just the name O shot just makes me want to cross my legs.
I understand. Now, I've been getting Botox and fillers for 20 years. I've had facelifts. I've had one facelift. I've had 7 O shots. I've done micro needling. I'm not really afraid. I've had all my vaccinations for COVID. I'm not really afraid of needles. Mm-hmm. But if you're afraid of needles, that's reasonable, although it doesn't hurt because they numb it with lidocaine. And it basically is a PRP treatment where the doctor, the specialized trained practitioner of orgasm shot, and they have one for the penis too, the P shot. They've got GainsWave like FemiWave for men. All these things have their analogous to the male body, because we women have to keep our husbands going, our partners going, because they don't go to the doctor. I can't believe how many times I tell men, I can't help you. Why don't you go to the urologist? They're so bad. At least we go to the doctor. So the O shot is basically a vial of our blood taken out and put in a centrifuge, spun to take off the white and red blood cells. And what's left is called the fibrin-rich matrix, PRP, platelet-rich plasma. And then that's put in a very tiny, tiny, tiny little needle and injected into the clitoral structure and the urethral structure. And what it does is it takes all the healing factors of your own body, fresh out of your body, right back into that spongy tissue. That spongy tissue goes, thank you, and it regrows new tissue. Because as you age, your vulva shrinks. So you get all that painful sex and that loss of orgasmic intensity. And so the FemiWave, the VFit Gold, the O shot can be combined in ways that don't damage you. They use your body's healing strategies. They are not like, I also use PRP right in my face. Just this, I don't know what today is. Last week, I went and had a PRP facial where they took my blood and they scratched my skin with a skin pen and then rubbed the PRP from my own body right into it and then injected it into little places in my face, nasolabial folds between my, it's filler, but it's not filler that is made out of chemicals in a big vat from Allergan. It's not a Botox. It's not a hyaluronic acid filler, a Sculptra, any of those kinds of things, because those things your body metabolizes. And when you use exogenous fillers that are made out of chemicals, man-made products, your body's just going to metabolize them and go away. That's why you have to go get fillers every 6 months. When you put PRP in, the PRP is actually rebuilding the tissue in your clitoris or your face or what have you. And when you do that, you're just growing new tissue where you've had tissue loss. As you age, your cheeks sink, the flesh drops, you get hollow around the temples, you just get a funny, like almost skeletal face as you age, even if you have extra weight. And so these are ways you use your body's own healing factors to regrow tissue naturally from your own body. It's just concentrated healing injected into the places where you've had tissue loss. So for some women, they're going to be like, oh yeah, that sounds really good, sign me up. And for other women, they're going to be like, that's not for me. And I'm totally fine with that. I really like it because I'm reversing atrophy of aging.
Obviously, if you're going to do something, it's better to do something that's your own than
natural.
Then definitely. So how can you increase libido from a biome perspective? I've seen that on your notes that you talk about gut microbiome and libido.
Well, your libido is the other side of the same coin as your overall health. And if you are eating out at restaurants and not cooking your own foods from organic vegetables at home, if you have to travel and you're stuck on the road and you have to eat a lot of crap, if you're still eating white flour and eating white sugar and drinking a lot of alcohol, you've ever taken antibiotics, you have a really wrecked microbiome. And your microbiome is what creates the first line of defense of your immune system, as well as produces your neurotransmitters, the ones that make you feel happy when you have sex, or the ones that make you feel like you want to have sex, as well as producing your hormones. You need a lot of good, healthy fats you need vitamin D, and you need B12, and you need a lot of things to create the hormones and neurotransmitters that help you enjoy sex. So with the combination of not having slow, light-touched lovers, because men don't understand us. It's not their fault. They don't live in our bodies. We don't know to speak up for ourselves. We don't have Susan Bratton saying, it's okay. You can ask him to rub your vulva, give you a yoni massage for 20 minutes before he ever goes down on you. I wouldn't have sex without that. That's like pre-foreplay to me. I like to be held first. I like to have full body rubs. I like to have a yoni massage. I like to do oral. Maybe I'm ready for penetration if he sticks his penis in me and I have 1 second of like, oh, I don't know. I have to stand for myself and say, no, babe, not today. Pull it out. Let me stroke your cock and let's make out and you can play with my boobs or whatever. So, I just really want to empower women because it's important to understand that your libido is directly affected by your microbiome. Even your vaginal microbiome is connected to your gut microbiome.
Oh, wow.
And the sure signs of a bad microbiome are all of the kind of gastrointestinal issues, constipation, irritable bowels, diarrhea, bloating after eating. Bloating after eating is a sure sign of either one or the other. Usually where there's smoke, there's fire. Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, small intestinal fungal overgrowth, which means the gram-positive, the bad bacteria, are at a higher ratio than the good bacteria. You've got to get that back with prebiotics, probiotics, eating really healthy food. Basically, if you don't have the kind of poos every morning where the poo just floats out of your ass like a ballerina and does a pirouette of grace and plops in the toilet in the most beautiful turd you've ever seen, you've got gut dysbiosis. And so if you feel like you have a libido issue, it's not the loss of estrogen from menopause, which is what women blame it on all the time. It's your diet, your lack of focus on your gut microbiome, and not speaking up for what your body is telling you that it wants in that time and how long it takes. And you must allow her, by her, I mean your vulva, your yoni, you must allow her to tell you. She's talking to you all the time. She knows. And she's, and if you have tuned her out, no wonder you have low libido. Learning good sex skills with your partner, giving yourself the time, and having all the nutrition in the gut microbiome are the things that will reignite your desire. You'll feel seen and responded to. You're physically going to feel better. I mean, it really starts with health.
Absolutely. I love health. I mean, I actually eat all organic, locally sourced food that's in season. And I'm whole foods plant-based. I haven't eaten meat for 27 years. I don't drink alcohol. So I really feel attached to that as well. And I've reaped the benefits with my health because I have amazing periods, like zero pain. I actually free bleed, which people find disgusting, but I find it the most natural thing ever. Because I mean, I nearly died from a tampon, so I'm really against all of these things that we are sold. You know, all these dangerous tampons with horrible ingredients. They don't even publish the ingredients on those products, and also
I heard. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
and lubricants, like lubrication, it's natural, and I'm very juicy. So, and also going to the loo, it's like very, I mean, I don't understand how people need to read in the toilet, because I mean, that's for people who need to like push and make an effort. And that's not normal to be having to read a magazine, you know what I mean? I never quite understood that. My problem is that I'm juicy and all of that, but I don't have anyone to, I don't have my Mars. So it's really frustrating.
Oh, I have an idea for you for that. I wanted to thank you also. That episode you did on free bleeding was fabulous. I mean, honestly, Venus, that was a work of art. The story with the girlfriend, I mean, everything. And I love period sex, and all of my lovers love it too. They're not afraid of my blood. I remember one time one of my boyfriends was going down on me, and I said, I have my period. He's like, I'm fine with that. It wasn't a lot, you know, it was like, how there may be some blood. And he's like, okay. And he got up, and he looked like something from a movie set. His head was just like dripping with blood. You know how it's exacerbated with the spit and everything. And I think I had my yoni, like I was squatting down on his face. And so it like ran down him. I was like horrified. And I said, don't look in the mirror. I have to get a towel. And he goes, don't get a towel. It's fine. And I was like, God love you for being so open to it. But I free bleed as well. I really like period panties. My daughter and I both use them, and they are game changers. I mean, I have always hated the tampon situation. And I agree, if you work in an office, it is not the time to free bleed. That's risky for you. But you can do it at home. You can free bleed half the time. You don't have to be I'm a free bleeder and then be like, but I use tampons. Okay, do it. Do what you can do to let it flow out of you. And so I didn't. Yes. Love your menstruation. I am 61 and I still bleed because I take bioidentical hormone replacement.
I didn't know that. That's incredible. So you still have periods after? I
still have periods.
Okay.
And it was funny because I just went to a traditional allopathic Western medical gynecologist because I had to get a mammogram. And I get one every, I don't know, hardly enough, but I get them. I don't need them. I never have had any issues. It doesn't run in my family, but with the toxins of the world, I keep an eye on shit. So I went to him and he's like, you still bleed? We're going to have to go in and do a D&C. And, I was like, everything he was going to do to make me stop bleeding. There must be something wrong with me. And I'm like, no, dude, I do BHRT. He's like, why are you doing so much BHRT that you still have a period? I'm like, because I can, and I do, and I feel great, and it's awesome, and it's not going to hurt me. And lots of women do it. And he was like, we need to get you in here immediately for a biopsy. And he was going to stick a thing up my cervix with a puncture thing and he wanted to measure my endometrial lining, and I'm like, get the fuck out of my womb. I never went back. I wouldn't do it. There's nothing wrong with me. I have zero symptoms. I feel super healthy. I take BHRT and I still bleed. Okay, I still do it at 61. I didn't get my period till I was almost 18. Wow. I was a late period person. And I figure, it'll end when it ends. It's stopped for months at a time and then come back as I've gotten healthier because I had COVID a few times. But I didn't know free bleeding, the word, and I'm using it. And I agree with you to hold the menstrual cup companies to task on what they're made of and how you change them and usage. One of my biggest issues with the sex toys companies is that they feel like they have to rely on people like us to teach other people how to use their toys. I mean, I think it's getting better, but I'd like to introduce you to the Fun Factory team because do you know Fun Factory?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because I think they'd be really wanting to hear what you want from them around their menstrual cups. I don't know if you've done any conversation with them, but I love working with them. They have high quality products.
I just like menstrual cups for many reasons because I nearly died from a tampon, and And menstrual cups, you can get toxic shock. There is no information.
Right.
There's even a
Right.
BBC article about someone getting prolapse from using them. There are people who cannot remove them and being taken to the ER, and there's none.
Yeah.
It's not hygienic to change them in a public toilet. So there's a lot
Right.
of this information that people are saying it's fine and it's not fine. You know, it's not normal
Yeah.
to have this thing inside you for hours. Or even they're
Agreed.
saying, yeah, it's fine to sleep with it. No, it's not. Your nature says it comes out. And if these people really cared about period poverty, which is just a marketing thing, they would empower communities to make period panties and reusable pads where they only need to buy a few pairs and then they're done, because they want this they want business out of it. And I just think as I nearly died from toxic shock. So I feel very strongly about it, because if it wasn't for me, the doctors were like, there's nothing wrong with you. And if I didn't insist, then I would be dead now. It was the 2nd of September, would have been the date of my death. When I see all this, there's no information about the risks. And also I watched a video about female products and the cancer risks. And they're talking about things like nail varnish and menstrual products. And there's all these things that are so toxic. And then I have a couple of videos on my YouTube channel that I get so many bad comments, I can't even tell you, but it's important for me to have this information out there. And someone made this incredibly naive comment, which said, if these things were really that dangerous, they wouldn't be available. It's like, wake up.
Oh God.
Wake up.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, most things
Nobody
are dangerous.
gives a shit about us.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't. It's big business. It's all about profit. We have to be our own advocate in everything.
Yeah, but I really enjoy my periods now, and I do.
I hear you.
I might know that I already do. I do sex magic, so I use my menstrual blood to put on my sigils. I think I've got a few here to show you. These are magical symbols. So I have an orgasm, and I don't even remember what they are, but I mean, I'll just like choose this and then bleed on it. And these represent my desires. So I just make these symbols that represent things that I do it on new moon normally. And then because menstrual blood is so powerful and symbolic, whereas in some religions people are getting taught or internalizing that it's dirty or unclean, and which is really terrible, you know. But menstrual blood is power, and I just really enjoy periods. And I'm like, the only bad thing is I can't sleep naked, because I just feel that I love to sleep naked, but I just like have to wear like old underwear and I have a dark towel. But I mean, I'm on day 4 now, so tomorrow I'll be able to sleep freely. But that's the only inconvenience. But in general, I'm just happy to have a period, and that it's not gone yet. Because I mean, I have a cousin who's looking forward to menopause. So I couldn't imagine that, because she has a very bad period, you know, like with hot water bottles and bad moods and like a day in bed or something like that. But I've never been like that, so I'm very lucky, and I have no painkiller. I just feel like it's a blessing, you know. And it's like, I think it's like almost like a cleansing process of the vagina, you know.
When you bleed on those symbols, do you then like set them on fire with an intention and release that to the universe, or what do you do? Do you just have a lot of like bloody pieces of notebook paper around your house?
I make them with the intention. And because they represent affirmations, and then it's what I do is I write an affirmation. I do 3 is a magic number, and so I write an affirmation. I mean, I have an example here, which is, I travel for work, so I really want to get traveling again. So I just made this example. So I write the sentence, I travel for work, but I rewrite it without repeating letters, without no duplicating of letters, and then I just jumble the letters together. I simplify until it becomes just a few squiggles, and then it's a circle, and I leave them for a few days, so I don't remember which is which. I have no idea. So I just grab a random one, and then I just enjoy my fantasies. And at the time of my orgasm, I'm looking at it and going, and then after, I'll just wipe my bloody toy on it, or even just non-bloody, could just do with my Venusian nectar, and then I'll just rip it up and throw it away. But usually on full moon, I'll throw them away.
I like your Venusian nectar. I've taught probably over 3,000, maybe close to 4,000 women and their partners, how to release a woman's feminine waters. I call it, you know, people call it squirting, but to me, that's a porn term. I call it female ejaculation. And I use the word divine nectar, which I like, but Venusian, you called it Venusian.
Well, not for squirting, just for like the lubrication, because it'll be on my
No,
toys after. So that's kind of
yeah,
like because I mean, I've read all the books available on sex magic, and they do, even for men to ejaculate on the symbols, it's kind of anointing them, because these are very
nice.
powerful fluids,
They are.
yeah.
I know. I hate that women have been taught to be so afraid of ejaculate, of male ejaculate. Like, ooh, it's going to give us diseases and get us pregnant. Well, yes, you have to use your method of contraception, which I'd like to know yours. I recommend a non-medicated IUD if you can tolerate the copper. I think is a very good choice. The fertility awareness method is another very good choice, especially with the predictive algorithms now of the models of collective data. I think those are good, and condoms. And I like the condoms where you can use the organic nut oil, so polyurethane rather than latex, because so many people have latex allergies. How about you? What do you like?
I love condoms, actually, and I've been so lucky. I'm so fortunate that the guys that I've been with don't complain about condoms. That's it's a great thing, because I just I'm not in a serious relationship, and even if I was, even the last relationship I was in, I've been with guys who don't start complaining, so I don't have to worry about any type of pregnancy or disease. Obviously it's not perfect, but it's still the best way. And it's been a very long time since I've had sex without a condom. I just love that peace of mind. And also I've tried recently vegan condoms, which are amazing. The company Glide, which are really good, because obviously condoms are not vegan. They have casein in it or something like that, which is a derivative of milk. So because that could also cause allergies as well, because it's not, because animal stuff.
That's good to know. I'll check that out. I'm for women that are in monogamous relationships, or in an STI fluid bonded relationship of some kind, where that we've both had your STI test done. You're not fucking around with other people. You might not be married or what have you, or you're in a monogamous relationship with multiple people, so you're all bonded in together. I think that having the ability for that partner, if you've got contraceptive backup, you're wearing condoms on the days you're fertile, and then on the days you're not, you can have your partner ejaculate inside you, because male ejaculate is as valuable as our lubrication, as all of our fluids, our female ejaculate, etc. I mean, I try to get people to stop being afraid of our bodies and to embrace our bodies and the bodies of our male partners. Dr. Lindsay Berkson is a very, very interesting woman. She's a hormone scholar, and she wrote a book called Sexy Brain. And in it, she talked about the 20 different beneficial components of semen for women. Things like luteinizing hormone, that if you want an introduction for your show, let me know. She talked about luteinizing hormone being regulatory of our menstrual cycles, helping us regulate. Serotonin is a mood lifter. The zinc is restorative for our cognitive function. We get, and this is my favorite, testosterone from our men. When they come inside us or kiss us, wet kiss us, they give us testosterone, and testosterone is addictive. It personally makes me happier. I feel more confident. It gives you balls, it gives you a higher libido. So that is one of the benefits of ejaculate. And people are always like, okay, well, what about if you swallow it? And I'm like, I don't know, because there's no studies done on it. But your vagina is this incredible sponge that loves to bring things in. And so if you can take it in, it's very good for you. Do not be afraid of it. Just make sure you've done STI tests and you have contraceptive backup.
I think it's really important, if anyone has a new relationship, is to look at the sperm with the lights on. It's very important, because I had a shocking experience a few months ago, which I haven't shared in public. I'm going to share it now because it seems relevant.
Great.
I was seeing this guy, and he had a very large penis, and we were using condoms, which was fantastic. I was so happy. He was really reaching my A spot, the AFE zone, which is my sweet spot. So I was like, it was amazing. And then the day after, he came to my place and we cooked. He went down on me. I came in his face. I was bouncing. Nice. My pelvis was going, oh. And then I almost broke his nose, which was amazing. And then he said, I want more. So he carried on. I was like, what a guy. And then we tried to have sex, but I was sore because of the night before, because this guy's like using XL condoms, so he's very big.
Yep.
And so then I just got some lubricant, one of my old tricks, get some lubricant and masturbate him. Because I mean, I think it's so easy to masturbate a man when you're using lubricant. I don't use lubricant on myself, but I will on a man. So because I was just too tired or too sore. So I was masturbating him for a while. To my horror, when he came, it was brown.
Oh, gross.
And I'm telling you, I was like, I've never seen that in my life. And I have a lot of sexual experience. And honestly, as soon as he left, I was on Google. I was so shocked. And there's no way I could ever sleep with that guy again. And I'm so happy we had condoms. And imagine if if I had gone without a condom in the darkness. I think it's so important to look and to see what's going on in someone's genitals with any type of spots or rashes or anything. It's so important to have lights on and see. So if you are going to have someone come inside you, what's there, because I mean, someone might have a test one day. We don't know what they've done since the test. I mean, I don't know. It just didn't sound, it didn't look. But he had some issue with I think what happened was he had some prostate bleeding or something internal like that. And it sounds like he had an accident with a surfing thing. So that could have something to do with it. And he never masturbates. I think maybe it was a painful thing, but as I said before, men don't really get these things checked out, which is very.
We have to make them.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't become anything serious. So I was completely put off. I was like, oh my God, not having that again. I was completely in shock. And
I was really talking about more of the long,
absolutely,
relationships. And I wanted to say too, I love your visual inspection. I always advocate for that. And don't forget to check behind, because I had a boyfriend once who had herpes, and I have herpes, and so I didn't have a problem with it, but I never have sex with my partners if I have an outbreak, either on my lips or my genitals. And I don't have them that much, but if I have them, I wait until it's completely gone. I don't put any pressure on myself to have any kind of sex, because I don't want any shedding, because I don't know what strain of HSV I have versus what strain of HSV. We don't know enough. I'm not going to get another herpes, because the long-term contraindications of those things, they create nerve damage, sciatica in your ganglia on the base of your spine, and trigeminal nerve, which feeds your face. And I'll tell you something, if you end up with trigeminal neuralgia as an old person, they say it is the suicide thing. It is so painful. So we don't know where this stuff leads. Just like you get chicken pox as a kid, and then you get shingles in your 50s. And it's like, how can we avoid these things? Don't just let our kids get the pox, So he had this red bump on his, I noticed he was getting out of the shower, and I saw his ass, and I said, hey, what's that bump on the top of your butt? It was right by the base of his spine, kind of right above his crack. And he said, oh, I don't know, it's probably just a zit or something. And I got down there with my magnifying glass and my readers, and I looked at it and I'm like, dude, that's motherfucking herpes. And we're not having sex today. I just know, you can finger me, we can make out, but I'm completely encasing that thing in a Nexcare Band-Aid and putting some topical acyclovir on it. And did you bring your acyclovir in your DOP kit to start getting back, pushing back on the viral replication so it heals faster? And he didn't even know. Guys are not always in touch. People are not always in touch with their physical reality. And if I hadn't spotted that, and he'd gotten that all over the bottom of the sheets, and then I put my body in it, and what if I got another friggin' strain? So I don't know anything, but I know protection, and I know visual checks, and I like to ask a lot of questions, and I believe in abstinence for those kinds of things. So it turns out that a lot of times it manifests on the rear, not just on the penis, and it manifests in different places on the body. It's not just like there's a spot on your dick, there's a spot on your pussy. Not at all.
Oh, wow, that's so interesting.
I know, that's exactly the kind of nerdy shit you love.
Yeah. It's quite scary as well when you're in a situation where you're dating. I mean, that's just such a, you have this burning desire to have sex with someone, but then you're thinking of the risk, and how promiscuous people are. Because I mean, obviously it only takes one bad shag to give you something, but the more you do it, the more the probability is going higher and higher all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, I talk a lot about how to have the safe sex talk, when to have the safe sex talk, what STD test to get. I run a pretty big profile. All of those things are on my betterlover.com website. I even tell you exactly the words to use. I have a little thing underneath the video where you can print it out and stick it in your purse or your wallet, so you don't have to remember in the moment, how you can have the conversation and everything, because people are worried about it. It's hard to be informed about all this stuff. It's constantly a challenge for all of us who are in the business.
Definitely. And also smell is another big thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Health. We need really healthy people.
Definitely. So a couple of quick questions. I could talk to you for hours.
Okay. I know.
So what are you working on currently? What are your current projects?
Well, the last two things I completed were the 20 kinds of male and female body orgasms. Women are much more aware that they can have different kinds of orgasms than men do. Men are just becoming aware, but they're like, okay, I think I have a P spot. I could have a prostate orgasm, or, they're a lot less afraid of their ass these days, which is good. And I just wanted to give people all of the different kinds, because there's locations you can touch, there's techniques. We never got into expanded orgasm. Oh, geez, we never did the thing I was starting to come here to talk to you about. There's techniques like Expand Her Orgasm Tonight. And then there's objects like sex toys, and different things, electrostim and latex and floggers, and, all of the objects of desire. And so there's a lot of things that people can do and try. And then that led me to creating a new download for people. It's free. It's called Sex Life Bucket List. It's at sexlifebucketlist.com. And it's 48 different things you can do and try to increment your sexual mastery and have new and fulfilling and exciting experiences with yourself or your partner. And it basically helps you create this bucket list of the things you really want to focus on next in your sex life. Because for your fans, like my fans, what they love from us is that we expand their orgasmic possibility and pleasure. And they want ideas. Techniques are great, but how do you make them like fun experiences? And so I put together 48 fun experiences that you can go through and you can mark. An A would be, oh yeah, it's on my bucket list. A B would be, it's not on my bucket list, but if I have a partner, if I'm lucky enough to have a partner and it was on their list, I would do it. And C is, it's not for me right now. Always leaving a door open for the future, because things you used to look at it and go, I don't get that at all, suddenly become your masturbatory fantasy ideas because you evolve. Mm-hmm. So that I've been really excited about, listening to what ends up on women's bucket lists and men's bucket lists and people across the gender spectrum, and what it is that's kind of trending now in sexuality. They have to tell me, because I don't collect the data. I just give you the download to do yourself at home. And it's really good for people in long-term monogamous relationships who are bored and they're looking for new things to do together. Oh, you do that? Oh, I've always wanted to do that. Oh, let's put that on the list. So that's been fun. And then this last thing was the different types of sex toys I recommend every woman have, so she can become an orgasmic cross trainer, so she can expand her orgasmic ability to come from lots of different stimulation, which just improves her overall performance, lowers her performance anxiety, lets her know she's this infinitely comeable orgasmonaut. And I think, and a lot of times guys are like, what toy should I buy my wife? And I'm like, these 5. Not one. Get her these.
Absolutely, because one's just not enough. I mean, you have to have a collection, definitely.
Yeah.
So what is the book that changed your life?
A Woman's Anatomy of Arousal by Sherry Winston. She was a midwife. She is a midwife, and she wrote an ASECT book of the year a few years ago called A Woman's Anatomy of Arousal. And she has been one of my mentors, been very lucky to have her as one of my mentors. And she's taught me so much about genital anatomy, especially female genital anatomy. She was really the person that explained to me how squirting works, how it's not pee, how the clitoral structure works, where it's located in the vulva. Honestly, you ask most gynecologists, they don't even know where the clit is inside. They don't even know. So I learned so much from her, and that's a beautiful book. If you'd like her to have her on your show, I can introduce you to her. She's an extraordinary woman, and that book is amazing.
Amazing. It sounds great. I'm going to have that on my list. So, and second last question, what is the quote or affirmation that you live by?
My passion, your passion is my passion.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. And where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at my main website, personallifemedia.com. It has the 5,000 articles I've written over the last 20 years on everything searchable on an index. You can go to my betterlover.com video website, where I have hundreds of video that teach you things like everything from penis pumping to yoni massage. And then Instagram is at Susan Bratton, SUSAN BRATTON, Susan Bratton. That's more just like my personal shit. I like to post sexy pictures of myself I enjoy. It's really just my personal self-expression. Because, you know, Instagram's chronically censoring me, and I'm not going to get kicked off again. So I just don't put sex shit there. But I am working on starting an OnlyFans. I've just started it. It's also by my name. And I'm going to try that platform because it does not censor. Because I do just like to teach people all these hot sex techniques. And it's a place I think I can go to post that. So you can follow me there and expect a lot more to come.
Wow, amazing. So what will you do on OnlyFans? What will you do exactly? Will you be doing pictures, and will you be doing actual classes? Because I know it's a lot of things you can do on OnlyFans.
I'm still deciding and really putting together my strategy, but I'm thinking about some people want sexy pictures of me, like sexier than Instagram. Some people want to just have more sex techniques and access to content and information and ideas. Some people want audio, video, ebooks. I don't know if you can do ebooks, but I think you can do audio, video, and photos. So I'm just deciding, okay, I've got so much great stuff. What does OnlyFans want me to do? And what do my people want from me that they can't get right now in other ways, or that this is where they prefer to get it? And I'm working on that strategy now.
Amazing. It sounds like there's so much going on. It's so inspiring. Well, thank you so much, Susan Bratton, for this interview. It's gone on for a long time, but it was amazing.
Sorry.
I talked to you for ages.
I really, really enjoyed you too, Venus. You're just doing such a great job with your show. I love it. And you're really helping people. So we're so aligned in that. And I really felt we were a great values match, and that the sexy writing that you do is helpful. I think sexperts should be sexy. And you do a great job of that.
Oh, thank you so much. Amazing.